Hi, it's Kylie Koo and welcome to day 30, the final day of this ATC challenge. So I have here a sheet of paper. I'm not sure who it's by, but it came in one of the craft boxes that I got a few months ago. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this to the size of the ATC. I've picked out the piece that I want. It's double-sided paper, but I chose the bit of pattern that I liked best. And all I'm going to do is to put it down with some glue stick. The back of it was nice too, but I particularly liked, for this card that I was doing, I wanted the other side of it. So just manoeuvring that into place. And now just going to take some of that walnut stain and go around the edges just to hide any little bits of white from the card that's sitting underneath. And then I'll also take it and go right around the edges, down the sides. So I'm now taking this heart that I'd previously stamped and I'm just cutting it out because I want to use that as a template. I have a very thin piece of, I guess it's cardboard. It's actually a piece of cardboard that I'd torn apart. So this is very thin, but just what I want for what I'm going to do. So all I'm going to do now is to draw around the shape of the heart and then I'll cut it out. Just checking size-wise that looks about right. So can't believe it's now day 30. Really enjoyed this. Been a lot of fun doing the project and trying to come up with something different each day. I'm now just crinkling that up. I wanted it a bit more crinkly than it was. So just bending it and folding it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clear embossing stamp and just dab that on. And once more I'm going to use the copper embossing powder. One of the challenges, obviously I don't have an unlimited supply of materials. I have what I have and therefore, I have to use the same things time and again. So one of the challenges has been trying to use things in different ways or to get a different effect. And that in itself has been a lot of fun and is actually part of the challenge for me. So there I am now, just activating it with the heat gun. And you can see that it's very much clinging mainly to the parts, to those kind of higher parts that had the crinkles on it. The hardest thing at times is keeping it in place. So that's it. It is very thin, but I'm pleased with the way that's turned out. And again, just checking how it fits on my card. So, this past week or so, I've had a particular song going through my head, and I remembered that I had these little bottles that also came out of a craft box. So I'm just looking at whether I want the clear or the kind of amber coloured one, and I decided that the amber fits better with that kind of background paper. So I'm also taking this torn strip of, it's just ordinary printer paper, and what I'm trying to do is to get it to a size that will actually, when rolled up, fit in the bottle. So that was me just tearing it a bit smaller, and I decide it needs to be smaller still. So yeah, as I was saying, I've had this song going through my mind, and I don't know, it felt kind of appropriate for a whole number of reasons, including this being the last card in this particular series. So I'm now just going to write out the kind of opening line to the song and what I'm trying to represent in this card. So it's if I could put time in a bottle. Now I'm taking the Vintage Photo Distress ink and I start by going along the edges, and then what I'll do is I'll take a makeup sponge and just dab some of that onto the main face of it and onto the back of it. This was simply to give it a kind of aged effect and a bit more interest than just a bit of plain white paper. And again, just checking the size. And now I'm going to start to roll it very tightly. And it was quite difficult to get it started. And obviously some of the ink's coming off on my fingers, but that's okay. So just rolling and rolling and just trying to keep it in line. Obviously I don't want it to go too much offline, otherwise it won't actually fit into the bottle. Just checking again that it fits, and then getting some of the glossy accents, and I'll just put a dab or so on the end of that just to hold it in place because I don't want it to unravel. I'm just taking the excess off there. Then I took a Chit Chat sticker that has time on it and wrapped it round. And again just holding it in place with a little drop of the glossy accents. So I've now got my little bottle and I'm using these microbeads. I did use them for one of the other cards. They're really nice, but they're really quite difficult to work with because they are so small, and you know, trying to do that quickly, and you'll see that I end up putting them everywhere yet again, and they're then quite difficult to pick up. But you know, in my mind that was kind of representing the sands of time, so hence the reason that I put some of them in the bottle as well. So I'm now just popping in my little kind of scroll, and I will now put the cork in the top and push that in quite firmly. And I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out. So back to my card, and again I've been into my craft box supplies and taking out one of these mulberry flowers, and again that colour just seemed to sit quite nicely. So bringing those three elements together, and I decide that quite like them, but maybe add in some more. So I quite like the idea of the padlock and the key, and also the kind of clock face or watch face. And now I'm just thinking maybe I could put them together, almost link them together somehow. So just looking at how everything might fit on there. And at this stage I decide to go around the heart with black StazOn. I wasn't looking to make it too dark in terms of the background, but just felt it just needed a little something just to help it stand out a little bit. And again just looking at how things might sit. So I decided the way to keep the charms together would be to use some more of the copper jewellery wire, and I set about trying to link them all. It was a little bit fiddly, but I got there in the end. So what I'm going to do for tomorrow is actually a flip through of all the cards. Just a very simple flip through, no talking, So if you've missed any of the videos, you can at least see the cards and maybe go back to some if there's any that you see that you like in particular. Although, you know, I think there's a number of you who have very kindly watched all the videos, and I'm very grateful to you for that. And then, as I say, next week I will be back on catching up with some other projects, and definitely an eco-journal one to do first, as I've got a follow-up to do to one of the previous videos that I did. So getting it round the bottle took a little bit of working just to get it to hold in place, and now just going around the padlock. I think this wire had also come out one of the craft boxes that I'd had, and you know, I've used a fair bit of it, so I'm definitely going to get some more because I've certainly enjoyed working with it. And now just securing the watch face as well. And always just checking how things might sit together. So I want to punch a hole. I'm going to put an eyelet in it. And I've discovered now that actually you should punch the hole first and then put the eyelet in, which I didn't know before. And it certainly makes a neater finish on the back rather than trying to punch the hole at the same time as putting the eyelet in. So now that I'm happy with kind of where that's all going to sit, I put the charms through the back, and in a moment what I'll do is I'll just secure them in place with a piece of masking tape. But meantime I'm just gluing down the heart. I'm not gluing it down fully, I've just put some in the centre of the heart. I do want the edges to stick up a little bit, and I also glue the flower in place. And now I'll just stick the tape down onto the back. And a dab of glue just to try and hold the watch face in position. Although it moves about a bit because the wire's still sitting behind it, I really need to hold it in place for a while. So now take the black StazOn and really give it a good rub around the edges. I wanted the outer edges to be quite dark. Still playing about with the little charms, just trying to decide exactly how I wanted them sitting. And the bit of wire from the flower was kind of getting in the way a bit, so I just snipped part of it off. Then my Chit Chat sticker, which is love, and I give that a rough outline. Then I decide that I want to put some more of the little gold microbeads on. And what I tried to do was just to use the loose ones that were lying about. But you'll see I kind of lose patience with that in just a moment. If any of you use these, then do let me know how you cope with them. I think I need one of those little trays I've seen people use when they're running things into them, and then it's easier to run them then back from the little tray and into the tubs. So putting a bit more of the glossy accents up the top and pouring more of the microbeads on there. I just think it gives a nice little bit of added effect. And then I'll put a tiny bit just on the kind of side there as well. So I then attempt to put as many of those things back in the little pot as possible, and I catch the loose ones with a piece of masking tape, so that will appear in another project at some time in the future. So that's the 30 days of this challenge up, and here is the final card. So I do hope you like it, and thanks to all of you for all of the lovely comments, very kind comments, and all of the support and encouragement along the way. So thanks very much. Hope to see you again. Bye for now.